morning. From experience, whenever I prepared for any talk on Mary, I've had to battle with the enemy who would put obstacle upon obstacle on my way to discourage me, to make me feel sick, and to make me give up altogether. Just when I was about to write, I could not find a notebook which contained precious and intimate notes on my relationship with God. My cell phone went haywire and I could not receive messages. I was beginning to feel asthmatic and I needed to nebulize the works. But knowing by the grace of God how the devil works, I went to Mass and I spent time praying for strength. I prayed to Mary to help me share with you what God and she want me to share. The answer I got was trust. I was listening to a talk on CD by Father Ronald Rolheiser, Catholic theologian and professor at the Union Theological College, Alberta, Canada. And he said, trust is the movement from paranoia to metanoia. He said that what defined Jesus all his life was hearing at his baptism his Father call him, "My beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased." Thus, when he was led to the desert by the Holy Spirit, he could resist temptation. According to Father Rolheiser, because Jesus trusted that he was loved, he could embrace being empty, being a nobody, and living an ordinary life. I started with Jesus because our faith tells us that Mary is a model of Christian discipleship. If so, then Mary learned from her son, as she must have learned from her parents, Joachim and Anne, what it was to trust. We celebrate her birth as the birth of a woman whose way of life was trust, because she believed that God loved her. How many of us mothers gave birth in a stable or fled our homes with our newborn babies because someone was going to kill them? Mary, despite her preconceived notions of the Messiah, trusted quietly, pondered these mysteries in her heart, and with much courage did what she had to do, flee to Egypt. Or how many of us have lost our children in the mall, the way Mary lost Jesus in Jerusalem? Weren't we frantic? Mary must have been too. Joseph and she traveled one day's journey to look for him among relatives. And not finding him, they traveled back to Jerusalem for 3 more days until they found him in the temple. And when they found him, he asked, "How is it that you sought me? Did you not know that I must be in my Father's house?" If you were Mary, how would you have felt? How difficult it must have been for her to be the mother of the Son of God. She must have been caught between respecting her son and berating him for having caused all that trouble. But then again, part of her pondering must have been the words she heard at the Annunciation. "Do not be afraid, Mary, for you have found favor with God." Mary too heard the words, "I love you. You can trust me." And the greatest test of trust was definitely the passion and death of Jesus, her beloved Son. And yet, Mary, who had to learn daily to surrender all, including Jesus, to the loving arms of God, trusted that everything works unto good to those who love God. How do we know this? In Acts 1:14, we find her in the company of the apostles, awaiting the coming of the Holy Spirit to continue the mission of her Son in the church. Where are we in our trusting God? Someone had told me, we trust that the driver will bring us safely to our destination. We trust that the cook in charge of our meals will not poison us. But why is it that we find it very difficult to trust God? Can we take a long, hard look at Mary, ponder what she went through, and ask her to help us to trust the one who loves us absolutely? And by the way, my cell phone is now working, my notebook has been found, and I feel very good having pushed through with this talk. Thank you, Mary. Happy birthday.